Hi. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on hormone replacement therapy for 18 months? Have you wondered what it's like physically, emotionally, or sexually? If so, this video might be for you. So let's get at it. In this video, I want to go through some of the emotional, mental, psychological changes I've gone through over the last 18 months on hormone replacement therapy, or HRT. I'll post 2 more videos in this series. I've already posted the first one about the physical changes, and I'll also post another one on the sexuality changes that I've noticed over the last 18 months as well. I was so locked down in my emotions, how I communicated them, how I experienced them, and from what I understand, this is a very common aspect of gender dysphoria, where you disassociate emotionally from what you're experiencing in order to survive. It's a coping mechanism. And so one of the results of that, though, is that as trans people, or at least me, in my experience, is that I'd never learned how to process these emotions at all. And I think one of the most powerful aspects of transition has been experiencing emotion authentically, real, in a way that's real. You get to feel it very powerfully sometimes. And so I've needed to find new words to articulate the experience of the emotion, to process the emotion, find new ways to communicate that to people or to receive it as well. Sometimes it's been difficult. Maybe my delivery is flawed, and I know I've hurt people in that communication. Being on HRT is kind of like being on the right fuel mentally in my head. And that feels awesome. Absolutely awesome. Early on, I used to describe HRT as introducing like a magnifying glass. You would have the emotion, and then the magnifying glass would come in, and don't know if that's 100% accurate, and that really all it is that you're stepping away from that disassociation and learning how to process the emotions differently or authentically. So you just need to develop new skills to really navigate that in order to either sit with the emotions and then process the emotion in a way that's healthy, which that can be difficult some days for sure. There was a period of time, about just under a year ago, 10 months ago or so, where I was introduced to 2 different types of medication at the same time. So one, the testosterone blocker was great. It reduced the testosterone to 0, and that was awesome. But there was a new delivery method for the estrogen, and there was no efficacy. I had limited efficacy with regards to my body. I did not respond at all. So what that meant was that for the month of August last year, I had 0 testosterone and had 0 estrogen. And it introduced this type of anxiety that it wasn't an anxiety attack. The only thing I can really describe it is like knowing that you're going up a roller coaster and you're about to go over the edge. And as you're going up over the edge, it's just this crushing weight. And I talked to my doctor, and he switched me right back. And since then, I've been in normal female range. And the anxiety certainly lessened for sure, but it never really disappeared. It's not nearly as frequent now. It was usually twice a day during that 3 or 4 week period. And one thing I'm actually really proud of for myself is I had the kids a lot during that period, my kids, and I didn't lose my cool once with them, and that was kind of cool. I cry a lot. I cry easily. I cry in different settings. When I'm frustrated, I probably cry the most powerfully. It's this really cathartic release, and it feels great after. The stress and the uncertainty that introduced that frustration to my life doesn't necessarily leave, and it doesn't change anything, but I do feel better after that cry. I've released a lot of the feelings that I had, whether fear or what have you, in response to that uncertainty or that stress. And I find exercising that frustration through tears leaves me in a space mentally where I can then just begin to put one foot in front of the other. And just finding that next step has been really helpful, actually. And I don't want to say I enjoy that ugly cry, but it's been a really rewarding experience and empowering, I think is the word I'm looking for. Empowering in that I create the space in my head to take the next steps towards something more productive. I thought that going full time would be the end of the road. Like, I did it. And while there certainly is an aspect of that and a celebration of it, what it brought was an introduction of so many other things that I needed to work on from a mental health perspective, with regards to my personality, past traumas, things that I could work on and heal with the help of professionals. And transitioning, I think, introduced the resilience, like that superpower of resilience necessary, where I could then begin to tackle everything else in my life that was holding me back. And that I would argue that the love that I experienced prior, or that I tried to give, just, it was stunted and it was selfish in that it focused on the security of those relationships that made me comfortable. And so I tried to do things to avoid rejection in order to maintain that comfort and security. And now I can love for real, and it's all of me. So now the emotion, that giving of love, it isn't from a flawed source anymore. And there's a sense of normal about it now, that I'm dealing with all these things just like everyone else, and I can start to live finally, because my transition's complete. And now I'm just living my life, healing my trauma, and trying to share my life and my love as authentically as possible. I hope you've liked this video. I hope you found value in what I've shared. If I've missed anything, if you have any questions, leave a comment below, send me a DM. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching. Here's to life.